In today's meditation, we are releasing judgment within the self. Starting within the self first is a pathway toward liberation for self and toward liberation from external judgment, not only that is projected toward you, but external judgment that you may project outward into the world. Hi, my name is Shasta May Hernandez, they, them, their pronouns, and I am your non-binary spirit guide. Now, judgment can be such a profound and powerful energy when used wisely, when used in the light of discernment. If you watched one of my previous videos, I went over judgment as well as guilt, shame, and blame as a way to speak on the inner critic. And in this video, we're mostly addressing judgment from the lens of self and releasing negative energies that are surrounding that energy. And these may be anything, right? Any kind of judgment that you've placed on yourself, any kind of judgment that you've taken on from the external world, and that can be through other people, maybe that you know or don't know, that you've interacted with in the world in some way, and or it can even be judgment that you've taken on as a result of reading something, watching something, listening to something, anything external, right? And I'll give you some examples of what this can be like very simply, but then also in some other profound ways. So simply starting, and these are some things that you might want to think about in this meditation today that you might want to allow to come up as a way to face them. So one that comes to mind, when you're really looking to be a part of a group. You want to blend in, you want to belong. And judgment may come along with being the new person. Judgment may come along with not quite fitting in. Judgment may come along with just being who you are. You may also find that judgment will pop up in something so small. We have social media now. It's quite rampant, and I say now, it's been around for quite a while, but it's still growing, and it still is an influential force that is evolving, and we are seeing ways in which it affects our livelihood, but also our mental health, our emotional health, right? And one of those ways is judging how other people are living, judging how other people may even grow a platform, judging how, and all these things are in comparison to yourself, right? So you may see, somebody on social media doing something or living in a way that is something desirable to you, and then that may cause internal judgment around that. If you have that energy that's living within you, that will say, oh, I'm not X, Y, or Z enough to have that life or to do that thing. And then you may also have judgment around, self when it comes to romance, when it comes to, attracting a partner, when it comes to maintaining a relationship, when it comes to performing, right? That can be performing sexually, that can be showing up in the world in general, performing at your job, in your work, in your familial relationships, right? Maybe if you are in partnership, there are things that might come up in terms of internal judgment around maybe a broken promise or not being able to fulfill something within the relationship that you previously agreed to fulfill. These can bring up judgments, so many judgments, around worth, around enoughness, around love. And so today, as we sit with a lot of these energies, I encourage you to just observe what comes up, right? The light of awareness is meant to help you along your journey toward liberation within the self, and really working to keep the focus in the self, right? So we understand that sometimes these judgments may come up because of external circumstances or external stimuli, and then we recognize that it's hitting a part of us inside that's hurting. It's hitting a part of us inside that we're judging ourselves about, right? So if you are struggling with a certain cycle that you keep running into in relationships, in work, in just balancing your life, and it's hitting insecurities, it's hitting pieces of yourself that feel scared, that feel unworthy, that don't feel enough, that don't feel lovable, that are worried about how to show up correctly, you know? These pieces, these are the ones that need this releasing energy. And today, the meditation is really a gateway. It's really a launching point for you to take off in whatever direction you feel you need to release. Releasing can come in a number of ways. Releasing can mean crying. Releasing can be an exhale of breath. Releasing can be an energy shift within the self. Releasing can be a mindset shift. You know, all of these things can happen during meditation. And especially when we're talking about mindset shifts, you know, our brains are so flexible in some ways if we allow them to be, if we ask them to be, right? We can get fixed and closed, right? And that can be in the heart, that can be in the mind. But if we ask ourselves, if we ask our subconscious, if we ask our brain, if we say conscious brain, subconscious brain, heart, energy, I need you to shift. You know, I'm ready for a shift in perspective. I am ready to look at myself differently. I am ready to release, right? These are all things that you can say and you can speak out and you can claim, and it will begin. And as it begins and works through you, it will also physically work on the mind, right? Neuroplasticity is a real thing. We can learn new things, new patterns of relating, new patterns of being within the self, and that can have an effect on our whole system, but also on our lives, on our relationships, and on our work. So with that being said, I invite you to find a comfortable position for your beautiful body and allow yourself to be open to change in this moment. As you settle in and you find the spot that feels just right for you, I invite you to take a nice deep inhale, hopefully from your belly, all the way in, holding at the top as long as you feel called, and exhaling maybe with a sigh. In this meditation today, you have already succeeded by showing up. Thank yourself now, internally or out loud. Give gratitude, say thank you. As you sit here quietly, gently, peacefully, I invite you now to send messages of love to your brain, to your heart, to your body, to your spirit, to your soul. And I invite you to ask yourself now What judgment is most present within you that is ready to be released? Where on your body or inside your body, your internal systems, is this judgment living in this moment? Ask yourself now. And if you feel called and are able, I invite you to place a hand on that area where it feels like it might be or it is. Take a moment to observe the judgment, to observe any pain around it. And allow yourself to see how it has impacted you as a being, how it has impacted your life and your relationships and even your work. I invite you to muster up any more courage that you might need to fully face this judgment right now. See all of it for what it is, why it exists, where it started, how you've been feeding it, why you've been feeding it. As you move these energies and allow yourself to observe clearly, remember to breathe. Allow any emotion that wants to come up to come up. Let it be free. If any thoughts come up around any of this, just watch them. Watch them come up and watch them float away. Do not attach any more meaning to this judgment, to the thoughts, to the energy around it in any way, shape, or form. It cannot live in you if you do not allow it to. Let go. Choose to let go. Remember to breathe. And stick with it. And any residual energies surrounding it. If you feel you are nearing completion, or have completed, moving the energies around this judgment, releasing the judgment from that place in your body, from yourself, from your spirit and your soul. Ask yourself now, what is it that you need most to replace this energy? What will help you move forward from a place of healing, from a place that is aligned with what is actually true for you? If you have any blocks here, you might want to just tell yourself that you have permission to move away from this judgment. You have permission to love on yourself completely. You have permission to be free of judgment. Now, if you feel complete here, I invite you to just take some gentle, conscious breaths in this moment. Not really forcing, but being with your breath completely as you lie here. If you feel ready to begin to move out of this meditation, I invite you to begin to move a bit with your toes or your hands. Maybe you start to stretch or even give yourself a hug. And open your eyes as you feel ready. Sometimes a simple moment of slowing down and stopping and giving yourself the opportunity to be free can be such a powerful and profound moment. As you move forward, I invite you to come back to this video as many times as you need, and even fast forward right to the part of the meditation, and to see what other energies you can release, what other judgments you can release, so that you can live more wholly and fully in yourself, as yourself, everywhere that you go, in everything that you do, with everyone that you are around. Because we need you to be so uniquely you and so proudly you every day. How wonderful that would be. If you wish to connect with me further for private guidance, readings, or anything else, go ahead and check the description box below to connect with me further, and I will see you in the next video.